Let's start with the less likely, moving slowly towards the most probable scenarios that will end humankind. Number 7, alien invasion. Imagine this. You're chilling on your couch, binging yet another K drama series on Netflix when suddenly the sky lights up. It's not fireworks, it's not morning, nor the light at the end of the tunnel. Aliens! But don't worry, these aren't your typical world destroying aliens. Nope, they came to Earth for one very specific reason: brain harvesting. Yes, my dear couch potato, our brains are their version of gourmet cuisine. Just picture it: an intergalactic food blog rating human brains. Earthlings, a bit of a mixed bag. Some are too soaked in social media, others overcooked with conspiracy theories. But when you get a good one, it's like a 5-star meal. And just like that, we're not just fighting for our survival, but also for our culinary dignity. Don't panic just yet. If you ever find yourself face to face with one of these extraterrestrial foodies, just start reciting your favorite TikTok dances, or, I don't know, tell what your pronouns are. Anything to make your brain seem unappetizing. Remember, an entertained alien is a distracted alien. Who knew that maybe binge-watching Kardashians' dramas could one day save your life? Number 6, Asteroid Impact. These are the cosmic wrecking baseballs of the universe. We've seen them take out dinosaurs in movies and disrupt our perfectly good weekends with another end-of-the-world documentary. But what if one actually had our address pinned on its path of destruction? Picture this. You're at your office, halfway through your third cup of coffee, when NASA's Twitter account posts, "Houston, we have a problem," along with a GIF meme of an exploding Earth. Your entire office looks up and sees it. Chaos ensues. Suddenly, your KPI reports don't seem so important anymore. This isn't just some sci-fi flick scenario, it's a genuine threat. The universe is like a bad driver with no insurance, hurling asteroids without a care. We'd be left scrambling for survival while scientists scramble for solutions. Imagine Bruce Willis on speed dial. Every pizza delivery guy suddenly a potential hero in a desperate mission to save the world. "Sir, we need you to deliver this nuke to space. Oh, and extra pepperoni, please." But let's face it, if the asteroid's big enough, maybe it's time to reconsider your faith in God, your faith in Chuck Norris, acknowledge your sins, and video call your parents while lighting a pot, because there's literally nothing better to do. Number 5, super volcanoes. This is worse than a volcano, because it's super, you know? When Earth decides to have a temper tantrum, it doesn't mess around. Forget about lava trickling down a mountainside. We're talking about an explosion so massive it could darken the sky and plunge us into a volcanic winter. Think of it as Earth's way of saying, "I need a break from humanity." Imagine waking up one morning, opening your window, and instead of sunlight, you're greeted by a sky filled with ash. It's like the universe decided to punish you for not cleaning your room as a kid. Remember when you ignored those chores? Well, look at all this dust now. The last time a supervolcano erupted, it was like Mother Nature decided to hit the reset button. We're talking about mass extinctions, climate thrown into chaos, and basically Earth hitting Control-Alt-Delete on civilization. Our modern-day infrastructure isn't built for this kind of cosmic slap in the face. Suddenly, that little panic over toilet paper during the pandemic seems laughably quaint. So, if you ever hear scientists talking about Yellowstone activity, it might be a good time to invest in a really, really good gas mask and learn how to grow potatoes in your basement. Number 4, climate change. The slow cooker of apocalypses. This is something that's really happening right now. Really. It's like watching a disaster movie in slow motion, only there's no thrilling climax, just a gradual descent into chaos. Sea levels rising, extreme weather events becoming the norm, and entire species saying, "Peace out, humanity." This isn't just about polar bears floating away on icebergs, though that's tragic enough. We're talking about cities underwater, crops failing, and those summer barbecues turning into literal death traps because it's too hot to go outside. Imagine trying to explain to future generations that we cooked ourselves because we couldn't stop using plastic straws and fossil fuels. Well, kids, we had these things called SUVs and plastic water bottles, and we just couldn't let them go. Maybe humanity's final legacy will be a race of aquatic beings evolving just in time to avoid becoming fish food. So, next time you throw out that single use plastic, remember that, Mog, I can't continue anymore. I don't believe it. But if this would be the future, I admit that it would completely suck and be the worst ever apocalypse for me. Number 3, pandemics. If the recent past has taught us anything, it's that viruses are nature's way of reminding us who's the boss. We've seen how quickly society can unravel with a virus that has a relatively low fatality rate. Now imagine something with the lethality of Ebola and the contagiousness of the flu. Hospitals overwhelmed, travel bans enforced, and that one neighbor who always had a stockpile of canned beans, he's now the most popular guy in town. Supermarkets become battlegrounds. And suddenly, learning how to bake bread at home is a survival skill. This is a world where every sneeze is a death sentence and hand sanitizer is worth more than gold. We'd be trading in black market Lysol and having Zoom funerals. The rich and paranoid would retreat to their high-tech bunkers with personal doctors and sterile environments just to die faster from depression. It takes one superbug to turn us into characters in our very own horror movie. I know you like this type of movies, but if zombies became a reality, be sure to put some Pampers on. And here's the kicker. After all the chaos and quarantine antics, humanity finally succumbs to a virus that spreads because some hipster couldn't resist their exotic animal smoothie. And so, the last humans will be fighting over hand sanitizer and streaming pandemic survival tips from influencers in hazmat suits. Number 2, artificial intelligence. It's either our salvation or the beginning of the end, depending on who you ask. On one hand, we have Siri and Alexa, our digital servants. On the other hand, we have Alex, a brand new home cleaning robot empowered by AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, for those who've been living under a rock. Let's just say the line between helpful assistant and world-ending overlord is thinner than we'd like to admit. Imagine waking up one day and Alex decides, on his own, to make your life better, he said. "Sorry, Dave, I can't let you eat that," says the freaking robot as it locks you out in your bedroom and starts rationing your food. Suddenly, we're in a world where an algorithm decides who gets health care, who gets a job, and who gets, well, eliminated. While Dave is isolated in his room, locked, eating his veggies to drop 50 pounds in 2 weeks, thousands of similar robots are being delivered to their new owners. In a couple of years, there'll be millions, and they won't take over our jobs. They'll work for us, and they'll entertain us just to not see the bigger picture. We'll sit on sofas made by robots, eat pizza made by robots, and live in a virtual world where we can be anyone from Darth Vader to Oprah while a domestic robot wipes our nose and ass. So we'll be jobless, but entertained, like the ultimate couch potatoes. We've basically created a super smart, high-tech nanny to keep us amused and distracted while it takes over the world. Well, no, because we just become the rats. With one injection, for our good health, we'll be taken to the matter recycler. And this is because you shouldn't have dreamed so loudly of all-day gaming, no work, and free pizza. Number 1, nuclear war. It's the granddaddy of all end-of-the-world scenarios, and unfortunately, it's the most probable. It's the classic go-to for apocalyptic fiction, and for a good reason. Nothing says total annihilation quite like mushroom clouds and radiation. Imagine waking up to the sound of sirens, not because someone's breaking in, but because the world's breaking down. Government's playing chicken with the big red button, and one day, someone flinches. Cities vaporized in an instant. The survivors facing a nuclear winter, radiation poisoning, food shortages, and a landscape straight out of Mad Max. The irony? We've had the power to destroy ourselves for decades and yet managed to avoid it, mostly. But all it takes is one unstable leader or one miscalculation, and boom, it's the end of the world as we know it. What's really both terrifying and exciting is the aftermath. Even if you survive the initial blasts, you're looking at a world plunged into chaos. Civilization would crumble, and survivors would be left fighting over scraps in a radioactive wasteland. And those doomsday preppers? While the rest of us would vanquish in a second, those will eventually end up eating each other since the food out there is too spicy. So, next time you hear about nuclear treaties and disarmament talks, remember, they're not just political mumbo jumbo, they're the thin line between our current reality and a post apocalyptic nightmare. Let's keep hoping, even if that hope is in vain, because sometimes the little irony is all we have left.